Good morning. Happy Thursday. What's the purpose of life? What's the purpose of life? Is it different for everybody? Is it the same for everybody? What's your purpose? I think it's a very interesting question, right? Hopefully we can find some answers. Sometimes we struggle. We struggle with finding the purpose of life, right? Is there a purpose in life? What's your opinion? Let's see what this guy. Oh, you know what? I want to finish that. I want to finish that video from yesterday. Morning, Nicole. How you doing? Yeah, it's an interesting topic, right? Maybe we'll just go right into that instead. Do we all have different purposes? Do we need to find a purpose in life? What keeps us going? Like, what is the purpose of life, and what is the meaning, and what is the reason to find one? Should we have one? Oh, yesterday I was listening to a guy after work, and I've been having a couple of bad days. After you come home from vacation, it's hard to find. Maybe it's hard to find a purpose in life. I don't know why. That came up yesterday, but I was taking a shower and I play it while I'm in the shower, and it's very interesting, man. Different topics. There's a lot of drama on there, It's on YouTube, but when he gets down to the nitty gritty and stuff, it's pretty interesting. But anybody have an answer? I'm gonna play this. See what this guy says. He's a pretty intelligent man. He is a Sadhguru, whatever, however you say his name. He's pretty interesting, though. I'm gonna see what he says about this. And then if you have any opinion of your own, let me know. I think it's an interesting topic, right? I think maybe, according to the title of this, it says stop looking for a purpose in life. Let's see what he says.
Insight on that.
Good afternoon, Vanessa. Yeah, I got your coffee right now. I'm doing all right. I'm trying to get back in the routine of things. When you have a routine, I'm a routine person. I guess just part of being human, right? A lot of us are routine. Get up at the same time, eat at the same time, go to bed at the same time, go to the same place, take the same route, same way to work, same way home. Monday we do this, Tuesday we do that, Wednesday we do this, Thursday do that, Friday it's the weekend, right? Yeah, so I'm trying to get back in that routine. See what he says about the purpose of life. Stop looking for the purpose of life. A must-watch opening speech by, I forget how to say his name. I'm probably saying it wrong, so I'm not going to say it. Guru.
Thank you.
Isn't it fantastic that if there's no purpose, you have nothing to fulfill, you can just live?
Very interesting, right? If there's no purpose, there's nothing to fulfill, you can just live. Very interesting, right? You can just live I understand that part. Like, if there's no purpose, you can just live, right? And there's nothing to fulfill. But there's nothing to fulfill. Maybe what's the purpose of living? Huh. Very interesting. You don't follow much of a routine, just get by. That's good. I'm a very routine person. It keeps my mind right.
No, but you want a purpose. And not a simple purpose, you want a God-given purpose. It's very dangerous. People who think they have a God-given purpose are doing the cruelest things on the planet. Yes or no? They are doing the most horrible things and they've always been doing the most horrible things. Because when you have a God-given purpose, life here becomes less important than your purpose. No, life is important. Life…
Good morning, Jennifer. How are you? Yeah, I'm glad to be back, man. It's been a rough week. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I don't know. It's just tough to get back, man, after vacation. All the build up, all the excitement, and then boom, it's over, and you're back to the same shit every day. But maybe this video will give you some inspiration here. I like it so far.
Life is important. When I say life, I'm not talking about your family, your work, what you do not do, your party. I'm not talking about that as life. This is life, isn't it? Life is within you or around you.
Definitely.
The ambience… you're mistaking the ambience of life for life. Your home, your family, your workspace, your party, this is all ambience of life. This is not life, isn't it? Yes or no? You're mistaking the ambience for the real thing. No. Life is important because it's the only thing you know. You don't know anything else. Do you know something else? Rest is all imagined stuff, isn't it? The only thing is that this is beating and alive and that's all there is. So is this important? It is of paramount importance. Not you as a person, that's not important. But you as a piece of life, it's very important. Because that is the basis of everything. When I say that is the basis of everything, the universe exists for you only because you are, isn't it? Yes or no? The world exists for you only because you are, otherwise it won't exist in your experience. So, in every way, this is important. So what is the purpose for this? See, if you had a purpose and if you fulfilled it, after that what would you do? Bored.
That's so true, right? I never thought of it like that. If you had a purpose in life, right, and you get to that point and you fulfill the purpose, do you have another purpose? Do you have to go looking for another purpose in life, or are you done? Right? Like you said, you'd be bored, isn't it? It's a very good point. If the purpose is fulfilled, say you fulfill your purpose by 20, now what? You know what I mean? Now what do you do if your purpose is already fulfilled? Let's see where he goes there.
Isn't it? It is just that life is so intricate and so phenomenally intricate that if you spend 10,000 years looking at it carefully, you still will not know it entirely. If you spend 1,000,000 years looking at it with absolute focus, still you will not know it in its entirety. That's how it is. Is there a meaning to it? The greatest…
So true, right? You can spend all the time in the world trying to figure it out. What's your opinion on this stuff? I have to take one day at a time by Miracle Promise. Yeah, sometimes that's all we can do, right? One day at a time. Oh, your back is way out of place. Good morning, Tammy. Morning. What do you guys think, man? I mean, it's pretty interesting stuff. Well, the topic is the purpose of life. What's the purpose of life? This guy's saying, if yeah, Jennifer, but should we maybe should we need a purpose? You know what I mean? Like the way, like from what he's saying, is very eye-opening. Like maybe you'll never know your purpose. You know what I mean? See what he says here.
This thing about life is that there is no meaning to it. This is the greatest aspect of life, that it has no meaning to it and there is no need for it to have a meaning. It is the pettiness of one's mind that it is seek a meaning, because psychologically you will feel kind of unconnected with life if you don't have a purpose and a meaning.
Yeah, so it's saying what he's saying is like we don't need a purpose or a meaning to life, is what I'm getting out of it. This is my opinion. We don't need a purpose and a meaning in life, right? Because you're just living. I was gonna go somewhere then, I damn forgot. I read the comments, I forget what I'm thinking.
People are constantly trying to create these false purposes.
There you go. We act like we need a purpose to live. Like, why do we look for a purpose or a meaning in life? Maybe this whole time we're searching for the wrong thing. Very interesting stuff.
Now, they were quite fine and happy. Suddenly they got married, now the purpose is the other person. Then they have children, now they become miserable with each other. Now the whole purpose that I go through all this misery is because of the children. Like this it goes on. These are things that you are causing and holding these as purposes of life. And is there a God-given purpose? What if God does not know you exist? No, I'm just asking by chance. I'm saying in this huge cosmos for which God is supposed to be the creator and the manager of this 100 billion galaxies, in that this tiny little planet and you, suppose he doesn't know that you exist, what to do? Possible or no? I'm sorry, I'm saying such sacrilegious things, but is it possible or no? What if he doesn't know that you exist? What if he doesn't have a plan for you?
Obviously, he's laughing because he believes in God, and that's true though. Like, if you believe in God or not, or whatever you believe in, like, what if he don't even know you exist and you're wasting your whole life trying to find God's purpose? He don't even know you're here. That's what he's saying. I mean, I don't think he believes that.
Suppose he doesn't have a plan for you, an individual plan for you. Don't look for such things. The thing is, the creation is made in such a way that creation and creator cannot be separated. Here you are a piece of creation, at the same time the source of creation is throbbing within you. If you pay little attention to this process of life, you would not need any purpose, it'll keep you engaged for 1,000,000 years if you want. There is so much happening. So much means so much unbelievable things are happening right here. If you pay enough attention, 1,000,000 years of existence, it'll keep you busy or more.
You don't like him? That's funny. No, this guy's a genius, I believe. I don't know. Let's see how he finishes this here.
Right now, the need for purpose has come because you're trapped in your psychological structure, not in your life process. Psychologically, your psychological structure functions from the limited data that it has gathered.
You see his name up there, top right beside the hope? Sadhguru.
Within that,
think
it
it's pretty great.
rolls. And right now, your thought and emotion has become far more important than your life, isn't it so? Isn't it so? So because of this, you're seeking a purpose as an escape from the trap that you have set for yourself. It is a trap set by you. You can easily come out of it. If the trap was set for you by somebody else, difficult to come out because they'll set the trap in such a way that you cannot come out, isn't it? I'm talking about life, not marriage, that's what I mean. That's what. So this is a trap set by you. This is easy to come out, but that is the whole thing. Why it is so difficult is, now you're identified with the trap, you like it. You like it because it gives you a certain sense of safety and security and protection and individual identity. If you build a cocoon around yourself, it gives you safety, but it also imprisons you. Walls of self-preservation are also walls of self-imprisonment. When it protects you, you like it. When it restricts you, you do not like it. That is why we have doors. We like the walls because it's protecting us. But we have doors so that we can open it and get out when we want to. It doesn't matter how nice it is, we still want to go out, isn't it?
So good. She's saying be mindful, yeah, for sure. Think about what he said, you know. We want doors and walls on our houses, right? Or wherever you live. In your bedroom, growing up, you want a door so you can lock it, right? You can have your own privacy. A bathroom so you can lock it, so you can have your own privacy. But you want out, right? You still want to be protected, but you still want to you still want to leave whenever you want. It's interesting. Sometimes we're trapped in our own mind, you know what I mean? We get into this mindset. Let's just take me, for example. I get into this mindset at the vacation of like depression and getting back into my routine. Why? Because it worked so well before I left. But I'm trapped. Maybe I'm trapped on the cruise ship. Maybe I'm still there. Maybe I didn't want to open the door and leave. But it was time, right? Like I say, all things come to an end. Man. Powerful shit.
Isn't it? So that is how it is with every trap that you set. It doesn't matter how nice it is, you still want to go out. So the psychological wall that you have built, which gives you some sense of identity, which gives you some sense of being a person, an individual person, and which gives you security, beginning to experience it like a trap, somewhere you want to break it. So one way of not breaking it is to find a purpose. Those who find a purpose in their life, they become so conceited. They will live within their own trap forever, thinking that they're doing the most fantastic thing. First thing you need is balance. If you have balance, then you can climb. If you don't have balance, it's better you stay on the ground, isn't it? It's not safe for somebody who is not balanced to climb high. It's best you stay close to the ground, you should not climb. So, first thing is to establish a balance. Then you loosen your psychological structure. Then it's a wonderful thing. If you loosen your psychological structure without balance, which a lot of people are doing today, see, why does somebody want to drink alcohol or take a drug? Because it loosens your psychological structure and makes you feel liberated for a moment. But without the necessary balance, you have not worked for the balance, but you got freedom. Freedom without balance is destruction, anarchy, isn't it? So, first thing is to work for balance.
Freedom without balance is anarchy. So if we just go out of control, right? We have no balance. So let's just take alcohol, for example. We just drink every day out of control. There's no balance, then there's going to be no freedom. Because eventually it's going to lead to a road where, again, you're trapped in this cage with a door, but you can't leave when you want. Right? It'd be called prison or jail. Man, it's fucking interesting.
An enormous sense of balance, where even if you dismantle your psychological structure, you can simply live here. Dismantling your psychological…
You guys like this kind of stuff? Anyway, I mean, I get like caught up. I mean, just the way of thinking in life is so interesting to me because I just want the answer, right? I just want answers to why we are who we are, right? Just everything about life. It's so interesting to me. It always been like, certain quotes and shit. It's always been so powerful and interesting. Maybe I should have studied life a little more, but hey, we are now.
structure is an important process because that is your trap, that is your security, that is your stability. At the same time, that's your trap. Because the walls are set, you feel secure, but that's also your trap. If you dismantle your trap, you also dismantle your security, isn't it?
It's kind of like we talked about before about like when you're comfortable, right? To make change, you got to be uncomfortable. We get in this routine of being just comfortable, doing the same shit every day, not getting the results we want. You keep doing the same thing over and over, you're going to get the same results if we keep doing it the same way. So to get uncomfortable is when change starts to happen. It's when we get comfortable in a routine, get complacent, right?
You also dismantle your sense of purpose. You also dismantle everything that matters to you. So that will need balance. Without balance, if you dismantle, you will go crazy. But don't look for a purpose, because if you look for a purpose, you're seeking madness. If you find one, you are sure mad. Yes. If you think you found a purpose in life, you for sure gone crazy. Because only the
It's so funny because how many times have I said maybe this is my purpose in life? Maybe doing this and helping people for the last, 7 years is my purpose in life. Now this guy's telling me if I found a purpose, I'm not saying this guy's, obviously he's way smarter than me and way deeper. But if he's telling me only insane people have a purpose, and if you found your purpose, you're going mad. Have I gone mad? Is this my purpose? I don't know. Wild, right? It's interesting shit.
insane people have purpose, or people who have purpose are insane in many ways. These are things that you create in your mind and believe it's true, isn't it? Right now, fighting for my country is my purpose. Right now, if it's necessary, I will fight, knowing fully well it's an unnecessary bloody fight. Yes.
Before he even goes any further, think of this. Think about what this makes so much fucking sense. Sorry, I get excited a little bit, but think about this. If you go off to war, right, and you're in the military, let's just hit me right now, and you go to war, all right, and that's your purpose, right? You call back home. I found my purpose in life is to go fight for my country, right? What happens when the war's over? What happened when this makes so much sense now? What happens when the war's over, and you come home? You fulfilled your so-called purpose, right? Now what? Is that why so many people, so many soldiers deal with mental health issues? Think about it. If your purpose, if the war's over, you survived, you come home, that was your purpose of living, right? was to go to war and fight for your country. Well, now your purpose is over. Where does your mind go from that? If you're set on that being your purpose for life and the war is over, it's done with, you did your tour, or the war ends. Maybe you did 5 tours, right? Now, where's your mind go from there? If that was your only purpose of living was to go fight for your country and there's no war to fight and you're done and you already did it, where does your mind go with your purpose? Fucking, that's interesting. You know what I mean? Think about that.
Then you will fight only to the extent.
What's classed as a purpose? I guess it could be anything, right? Purpose could be to train dogs. Purpose could be to work the rest of your life. Purpose could be to be a parent. Anything, you know. But man, isn't that? What do you guys think of? Isn't that interesting though? I don't know where he's gonna go with this, but that's where my mind went right away, right? If your purpose, if you're thinking as a young kid, your purpose is to fight for your country, and then you do so. Now, what's your purpose of living if the war's over?
Extent it's necessary. If you think this is your purpose, you would want to destroy the whole world for what nonsense you believe in, isn't it? Something is needed, we'll do it. With absolute involvement. There's no other purpose. The purpose of life is to live, and to live totally. To live totally does not mean party every night.
I like that, man. The purpose to life is what? To live. Just that simple. Maybe we're looking we're looking into it too deep. Maybe we're looking, I'm not saying this guy's, the be all end all, but it's very eye opening. Maybe the purpose is just as simple as to live a joyful life.
To live totally means before you fall dead, every aspect of life has been explored. Nothing has been left unexplored. Yes? Before you fall dead, even if you do not explore the cosmos, at least this piece of life you must know it in its entirety. That much you must do to yourself, isn't it? That's living totally. That you experience the whole of this, all dimensions of what this is. You did not leave anything untouched. You just do that. That will take a long time. That's enough, good enough purpose for you.
Maybe a different purpose when they leave the army, but no idea. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's just a way of thinking. Like, maybe I'm all, like, I don't know. I don't think I'm off on that one because, if that was your sole purpose and you have that instilled in your mind, right? That my sole purpose there is to go to war and fight. Or maybe there's no war. Maybe just to serve your country. Maybe you serve your 25 years or whatever, 20 years, and then afterwards what, It's very interesting. Like, is that why a lot of people die? No, this is just something that came to me. After they retire, you always hear about that. People work their whole life, then retire, and then they die. Is it because they fulfilled their purpose and now they don't have nothing else to live for? I think maybe finding the purpose in life it's too much. We don't need to, right? I don't know. It's very interesting though, right? Let me try find another one. Same could be applied to parenting. Explain yourself a little with that, Michelle. Same could be applied. Or become a parent and then they grow up and you get old, right? I don't know. It's just very interesting stuff to me. Oh, maybe we can find another one. Now let's see what this guy says. Yeah, exactly. Like once your kids move on, right? As they become adults, have their own family. Yeah, it's true. That's why it's important maybe not to have a purpose in life, because once you fulfill it, then what? Then what do you do, right? Very interesting. See what this guy says here. Yeah, I never really thought about this shit like this. Just came to me yesterday, and I wanted to get people's opinions on it. Like maybe we're wasting our time trying to find a purpose when really, what does it matter? Just, it is what it is, I guess. I hate that saying because it's not what it isn't what it is. You can change whatever you want, but I don't know. Pretty interesting. I've never seen this one either.
On the last evening of my 25th college reunion, there was a party in a tent. There was dancing and music and noise, so much noise that a lot of us started to drift out of the tent so we could hear each other talk and catch up with classmates that we had not seen in more than 2 decades. As I talked with my friends, I made an astounding discovery. 80% of them were unhappy with their lives. I feel as though I've wasted my life and I'm halfway through it, they said. I don't know what my life is all about. Now, I was privileged to go to Yale, and we were standing on a summer evening in the middle of Yale's old campus, and the people that I was speaking with were privileged and highly educated and financially well off and in positions of power.
It's just proof it don't make you happy, right? Don't matter how much money you have in the world. Doesn't matter what you have, what you possess. None of that shit matters, dude. Really, does it? You might think it makes you happy, but it don't. It might for a moment, but doesn't bring you joy. Happiness just is a reaction. It's a feeling at the time, Joy is what lasts forever.
And they had the first house and the second house. And they had the first spouse and the second spouse. And 80% of them were unhappy with their lives. Who was happy, the 20%? Well, we had studied literature and Renaissance rhetoric, and we were the theater people and the history geeks. We had studied classes for the joy of learning, not because we thought they were going to direct us to a specific job. We still got jobs. We were living our lives expansively with life's ups and downs, and we did not feel that we had wasted a single minute. And as I spoke with the 20%, the happier 20%, I discovered that each of them knew something about their life purpose because they knew 5 things: who they were, what they did, who they did it for, what those people wanted or needed, and what they got out of it, how they changed as a result. Does that sound hard? It's not. It's actually really simple. In fact, it's so simple that you can learn your life purpose now. You're going to know your life purpose now in the next 5 minutes.
See the difference here? The first guy we watched said, you don't need a purpose, right? Just live. Your purpose is to live. You know what I mean? So let's see what this guy says. Now, this guy's saying he can figure out your life purpose here in 5 minutes. What he's going to say is, what I think he's going to say is being a parent, going to work, fulfilling your obligations, your responsibilities. That would be my guess, all right?
Would you like to know your life purpose in the next 5 minutes? Yes. can you be a little bit louder, because they're making a lot of noise in the tent, and there's just this silly little microphone next to my cheek to hear you. Would you like to know your your life purpose in the next 5 minutes? Thank you. Actually, it's not even going to take 5 minutes. So can I share something else with you? If you're like a lot of us, you have wondered and worried about your life purpose for a long time. And there are books and magazines and workshops and seminars about it. In fact, Amazon lists 151,928 books that refer to how you can learn your life purpose. Well, I know some people who have spent their entire lives trying to learn their life purpose. And look, we can all agree that the unexamined life is not worth living. But if all you're doing is examining, you're not living. So let's figure out the life purpose right now together. Who you are, what you do, who you do it for, what those people want and need, and how they change as a result. Shall we do it? All right. Everybody, on the count of 5, shout out your first name. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fabulous. That was the first one, only 4 to go. That's who you are. All right, now what do you do? What do you love to do? You love to write, cook, design, create.
I don't like the way he's going with this, but I don't know. This is going to be weird, I think.
iOS apps, write code, crunch numbers, talk, teach. What do you love to do? And if there's a lot of things that come up for you, focus it down by asking yourself this one question. What is the one thing that right now you feel supremely qualified to teach other people? Think about that in one word. Hold it. Don't release it yet. On the count of 5. What do you do? 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. That's what you do. Now, think about who you do it for. Picture them in your mind. Be ready to say it on the count of 5. Hold it. Don't release it yet. 1, 2, 3.
This guy's strange.
Okay, who do you do it for? Let's see it one more loud, a little bit louder, please. Over the people in the tent. Who do you do it for? Together? Thank you. That is the spirit that we need. Okay, now, what do those people want or need? What do they want or need that you have, that they've come to you so you can give them this thing? What do they want or need? In just 1 or 2 words, hold it, don't release it yet. And on the count of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fantastic. Now, this is the best one. How do they change? How do they change or transform as a result of what you give them? On the count of 5, how do they change or transform as a result of what you give them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Terrific. Now, we're going to put this all together kind of in a sentence, okay? Everyone together, louder than the people in the tent. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for? What do they want or need? How do they change as a result? Fantastic. You have all just done something that people who went to Yale could not figure out for 25 years. Congratulations. Give yourselves a hand. Now, why is that formulation so powerful? Because of all those 5.
Well, before he gets into that, I don't understand it, because everything he just said and the questions and the answers that you would have would mean to me that you're living for other people, right? You're living to please other people, or you're living, I don't know. It don't make sense to me, really. Let's see what he says.
Things that you need to know what your life purpose is. Only 2 are about yourself. The others, 3 of them, are about other people. Who they are, what they want or need, and how they change as a result. That formulation forces you to be outward facing. And all the happier people that I met outside the tent on that warm New Haven night, they were outward facing. They were not inward facing. They knew very clearly whom they served, what those people needed, and how those people changed as a result. And you may have intuited this already, that the most successful people in any field always focus most on the people that they serve than on how they are served themselves. Happier people make it a point to make other people happy and do things that...
I disagree. I don't think that's the case. I don't know. I don't agree with this guy at all, really. Happier people, I think it's the sadder people right? Let me know if you agree or not. I think it's the sadder people that try to make people happy, right? Because they know what it's like to be sad. That's my perspective on it. If you don't have nothing, and you finally get something, and you see somebody that don't have nothing, you'll be the first person to give them something because you know what it's like to have nothing. Makes total sense, right? If you were homeless and you were looking for food, you had no food, right? And at some point, you get to the point where you have food now, and you're able to eat when you want, eat what you want, and you see someone that don't have nothing, you're going to be the first one to give that guy something because you know what it's like to have nothing. So don't tell me the happier people make other people happier. I don't think that's facts at all. I think the happier people don't give a fuck about the people that are sad. The rich don't give a fuck about the poor. They've never been in that situation. They don't know what it's like to struggle. I mean, there's experiments done where I've seen this thing on YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube, obviously. There's like, I wouldn't say it's a prank, but it's like a social experiment where a guy acts homeless, right? And he needs food. And he goes into like a badder part of town or the city or whatever, and people offer him money and food. He goes to the rich part of town, right? Where all the rich shopping is and all the rich people live. You don't get a fucking thing, right? Because they don't care about you. So don't tell me the happier you are, the more you have, the more you're going to give, because that's bullshit. And then he ended up giving the homeless guy pizza, right? Just as a good deed. Then he went back as a homeless guy to see if the guy would share the pizza with him. Guess what he did? The guy shared the pizza with him, right? He wasn't greedy with it because maybe one slice was enough. He had a whole pizza. He didn't eat it all to himself. You realize how important something is when you don't have it.
That make them feel well taken care of and secure. If you make other people happy, life teaches us we will be taken care of too. So since you all did so well, we have time for just a little bit of extra credit. One of the most difficult things that happens when you meet people for the first time is they ask you this question. So what do you do? And if you're like some of us, that's...
Does it really matter? Does it really matter what someone does? So if I told you I did this, or if I told you I did that, is that going to change the way you look at me? You know what I mean? Isn't that going to change the way you look at me? Like, oh, you're either going to think this guy has money or he has no money. What if I told you I was a stay-at-home dad? Would you look at me like I'm a joke? Or if I told you I was the boss of this big company? You know what I mean? So what's it even matter what we do? Yeah, for sure, Jennifer. Let's see what he says there.
It's a really challenging question sometimes, particularly if you're in these moments where you're between things, or you're feeling vulnerable, or it isn't defined, or what you seem to do isn't what you really do, or what you're paid to do isn't how you define yourself.
Yeah, but this guy's bullshitting himself. Everyone knows. If someone came up to you and said, "What do you do?" You're gonna say what you do for a job, right? That's the first thing that's gonna come to your head is, "What do you do for a job?" That's the first thing you're gonna answer, right? Am I wrong? I mean, if someone came up to me and said, "Hey, what do you do?" Maybe not, though. I mean, I definitely would bring this up, right? This page. Let's see what he says.
So when people ask you this question, so what do you do? And also you got this monologue going on, like, why is he asking me, so what do I do? It's because it's that transactional thing where it's like he wants to know if you should really spend time talking to me, or it's that other thing so he can tell me what he does because he's sure it's really so much better than what I do.
It's exactly
Right.
what I said, right?
So when somebody asks you that question, here's what you do. You just say the very last thing you called out, how what you do changes the people you do it for. So for example, you might say, I give kids awesome dreams. If your life purpose is, I write books for children so they can fall asleep at night, so they can have awesome dreams. Or you might say, I help people look and feel their best. If your life purpose is, I design apparel for men and women who need affordable choices so they can look and feel their best. Or you might say, I help people get great work into the world. If your life purpose is, I train entrepreneurs and creative people to take decisive actions so they can get their greatest work into the world. And then that little snippet that you just said becomes your personal elevator pitch. And it will always start the conversation because the person that you were just talking to has to ask you a question. How do you give kids great dreams? How do you help people look and feel their best? Can people really get their greatest work into the world? And then you get to tell them, and you get to share your life purpose. And you get to share how they may come to learn theirs too.
What do you think about that one? I don't know. I kind of like the having no purpose, right? Because once it's fulfilled, then what? I don't know. I don't know about that guy. Guy was weird. What do you guys think about what he said? I don't know. Trying to find another one. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that guy, that was more like a sales pitch to me. Like he was trying to teach people how to be businessmen or something. Because if someone came to me and asked me what I do, I don't need to have a conversation. I can just answer the question and keep moving. He made it seem like you had to answer the question to start a conversation. Why do you got to start a conversation? It's a simple question. What do you do? I mean, the answer could be as easy as nothing. And then what do you say? You just keep moving on, you know? I don't know. That guy was weird. I like that guru, dude. Yeah, that guy made it more. I don't know if that was like a business conference or what, but philosophy of this. Let me see what this guy says.
Life meaning. What keeps a human being going? The purest answer to this question is perhaps to be found in the worst of places. Austrian psychiatrist, philosopher, and author Viktor Frankl spent 3 years in 4 different concentration camps. He was at the mercy of
Let me get some more coffee. I don't want to miss this. I want to see what this guy says. We're back.
sadistic SS guards and the so-called capos, prisoners with special privileges, who willingly collaborated with the Nazis and were even more ruthless than their masters. The camp inmates were constantly exposed to famine, sickness, slave labor, and the possibility of punishment or execution. There was no freedom. The prisoners moved around like a defenseless flock of sheep, kicked and beaten by their shepherds, stripped of all human dignity. What's left to live for in such a horrible place like a concentration camp? When they've taken all your liberties and possessions, and when death at short notice is almost inevitable, is there any reason not to give up on life? Viktor Frankl concluded that there's always a reason to live, even in the worst conditions.
That's a true point, Jennifer. It's just your morals, right? Values.
There's always meaning in suffering. And if we can grasp this meaning, this star in the sky, we can overcome even the most painful circumstances. According to Viktor Frankl, it's not pleasure nor success and power that essentially drives people. It's finding something, a purpose, a meaning to live and even die for. What's the purpose of my life? What's the meaning of all this? These questions echo the current societal condition, predominantly in the Western world, in which our lives seem to revolve around working a meaningless job to earn money so we can buy stuff as a means to dull our sense of meaninglessness. During times of globalization, secularization, and relative peace, we're less likely to find meaning in being part of a tribe, religious community, or defending our countries and loved ones against neighboring enemies. Everything has become so dull, so pointless, that we engage in rampant consumerism and distraction just to not feel a deep-seated sense of purposelessness that plagues our existence. And before we know it, nihilism kicks in, and we begin to ask ourselves, what's the point? Why keep going? You cannot compare the circumstances of the modern-day Westerner with those who lived in the concentration camps during the Second World War. But oddly enough, we walk around with similar existential questions and have similar reasons for giving up on life altogether. The lack of purpose, hopelessness, meaninglessness. When we're trapped in what Viktor Frankl called the existential vacuum, what awaits us is despair. During his days in the concentration camps, he noticed a division between two kinds of people, those who had given up on life and those who had not. The first group was more prone to illness and death. The second group was more likely to survive. The difference? A sense of meaning, or more specifically, the discovery of purpose in their unbearable living conditions. For example, Frankl himself was a doctor and found purpose in helping the inmates who suffered from illnesses. One day, he refused an opportunity to escape the camp so he could stay with his patients. He wasn't motivated by money, status, power, or even freedom. His purpose, in his case, taking care of his fellow human beings and not abandoning them, was so important to him that he was willing to die for it. His life had become a sacrifice of most profound significance. On the other end, Frankl wrote about those who collapsed under the harsh conditions of the camp. They always had the same reasoning for giving up, and I quote, "There's nothing anymore to expect from life." End quote. Devoid of meaning and faith that things could turn out more favorable, our bodies and minds begin to wither as we have lost our will to live. Frankl wrote about a prisoner who had dreamt about the end of the war and his release. His dream also revealed the date on which the liberation would happen, March 13th, 1945. He was full of hope. But when March 13th finally passed, nothing happened. As the prisoner's prophecy was naive and he had no purpose within the context of his imprisonment, he was struck with disappointment, suddenly got ill, and died of typhus shortly after. But looking at the horrible and hopeless circumstances that some people find themselves in, is it fair to expect that they find meaning? Aren't some situations simply too overpowering, so much so that they eliminate one's responsibility to choose? When the war was over, Frankl reflected on the validity of human liberty during the horrors of the concentration camps. He concluded that we are indeed able to preserve a vestige of spiritual freedom and of independence of mind, even in such terrible conditions of mental and physical stress. Thus, we always have a choice. I quote, We who lived in concentration camps can remember the men who walked through the huts, comforting others, giving away their last piece of bread. They may have been few in number, but they offer sufficient proof that everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. End quote.
Very true.
The ruthless capos without morality, the sadistic SS guards with no respect for human life.
It's proof that we have our choice, right, and how to handle a situation. We choose we choose how to deal with whatever issues arise in life. You know, we can go this way, we can go that way. I mean, it's proof. No, what's that about? The Russian. I'm gonna write that down. Is that something they do just on regular people, or? No, I never heard of that.
The prisoners who lost their will to live, the guards who tried to help the inmates, those who found meaning in the deepest of suffering, they were all responsible for their life choices. Hence, regardless of how terrible life is, we still can and must decide in what direction we go. Do we choose to betray our people and commit brutal acts to escape torture and death in the concentration camps? Do we choose to succumb to peer pressure and hateful ideologies? Do we choose to embrace a nihilistic, destructive mindset due to living in a consumerist society that seems spiritually and morally bankrupt? Do we choose to become a plaything of our circumstances? According to Frankl, the spiritual freedom we have, which cannot be taken away, makes life meaningful and purposeful. I quote, "The way in which a man accepts his fate and all the suffering it entails, the way in which he takes up his cross, gives him
It's about stumped. Oh, they didn't let him sleep for a week? Yeah, I mean, we don't know what it's like not to have sleep. I never went a week without sleep. Maybe the most ever would be 2 days, probably. A day and a half. What was the purpose of the experiment? Well, I guess you would call it an experiment, or is it torture?
ample opportunity, even under the most difficult circumstances, to add a deeper meaning to his life." End quote. Imagine having to get out of bed every morning without a meaningful long-term goal. The only reason you get up is that you have to get to work and engage in activities you don't like, just to financially support a meaningless existence and the many pointless pleasures to cope with it. You blame your past, parents, circumstances, and even your genetics for not having anything going for you. But in reality, you can still transcend your predicament and find purpose despite any external situation. The question is, of course, how? Before we get into that how of meaning, it's helpful to look at the why of meaning. Especially in the current age, there's a tendency to focus on money, status, power, and pleasure rather than a meaningful life. But, according to Frankl, these pursuits are ways to cope with an existential vacuum. They are a consequence of a lack of meaning. In a society highly concerned with pursuing pleasure and achieving wealth, it's often difficult to realize that these pursuits don't fill our existential emptiness and are only cheap substitutes for what truly matters. A more direct approach for dealing with the pain of meaninglessness we see today is the pursuit of happiness. In some circles, like
See what happens when people don't sleep. It's interesting to see how the brain worked. Oh, so they ended up dying from it? Oh, so they ended up, it pushed them to the extreme where they died?
the good vibes only movement, happiness has even become a requirement. Frankl describes a characteristic of American culture. One is commanded and ordered to be happy. There's nothing wrong with happiness, of course, as happiness is probably the ultimate pleasant state of mind and the eventual byproduct of following, for example, Stoic and Buddhist teachings. But,
No, my.
so argues Frankl, happiness itself
Yeah,
cannot be
that's
pursued
bad.
as it must ensue. I quote, "One must have a reason to be happy. Once the reason is found, however, one becomes happy automatically. As we see, a human being is not in pursuit of happiness, but rather in search of a reason to become happy. Last but not least, through actualizing the potential meaning inherent and dormant in a given situation." End quote. The same goes for success, according to Frankl. Success must also ensue and not be pursued, as it's the unintended side effect of one's dedication to a more significant cause. It must happen. The more we care about it, the less we can focus on our cause, and the less likely success will occur. But if we dedicate ourselves to a purpose and don't care about success, the more likely it will happen as a byproduct in the long run.
Very true.
So it seems that meaning is at the root of happiness and success, and the lack of it at the heart of indulgence in and addiction to pleasure, money, fame, and power. Having explained this, let's take a look into the how of meaning. First of all, according to Frankl, the meaning of life depends on the person, the moment, and circumstances. So there's no one-size-fits-all type of meaning that suits everyone at any time. He compares the futile quest for general meaning to a question posed to a chess champion. "Tell me, master, what is the best move in the world?" There is none. The best move in chess depends entirely on the situation in the game and the characteristics of one's opponent. We cannot invent the meaning of our existence, but we can detect it. As Frankl stated, meaning is inherent and dormant in a given situation. We can discover our purpose only if we interact with the world or determine what the world needs. Frankl wrote that we find out the meaning of life in 3 different ways. 1. By creating a work or doing a deed. 2. By experiencing something or encountering someone. 3. By the attitude we take toward unavoidable suffering. The first one lies in achievement and accomplishment. Creative pursuits like writing a book, painting, sharing stories about our sufferings and life experiences, or solving today's problems with science and technological inventions can help others. We'll only find out when we get started and engage with the world, so other people's needs become apparent. The benefit of performing good deeds doesn't need an explanation, but it probably doesn't have to be grandiose. Even sharing a small piece of bread with a starving inmate can be a profoundly meaningful experience. The second one lies in the connection we have or find with people and things. The experience of life itself, caring about the environment and its people, can be meaningful in itself. Frankl describes this as love, as he argues that it requires love to know
True, yeah.
something or someone truly. I quote, "The second way of finding meaning in life is by experiencing something such as goodness, truth, and beauty, by experiencing nature and culture, or last but not least, by experiencing another human being in his very uniqueness, by loving him." End quote. The third one lies in finding meaning in suffering. Frankl gives an example of an elderly practitioner who consulted him because of his severe depression after losing his wife. Instead of telling him what to do, he asked, "What would have happened, doctor, if you had died first and your wife would have to survive you?" "Oh," he said, "for her, this would have been terrible. How would she have suffered?" Frankl pointed out that the doctor's wife has been spared from such suffering as he spared her by paying the price, that he has survived and now mourns her. We cannot bring back the dead.
Wow, it's
In many
pretty
situations,
interesting.
like being imprisoned in a concentration camp, there isn't much we can do about the external factors. When we are no longer able to change a situation, We are challenged to change ourselves, Frankl stated. By changing our attitude, we can turn adversity into triumph. We can find meaning, even within the worst sufferings imaginable. The philosophy of Viktor Frankl could perhaps be summarized like this. Finding something to live and even die for transforms a meaningless, hopeless existence into a life worth living, regardless of any circumstances. Hence, he quoted Nietzsche saying, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Thank you for watching.
All right. It's pretty interesting, huh? All kinds of different aspects on the purpose of life. Like that guy was saying, if you have a purpose in life, you have a meaning, right? So the will to live is way stronger. And then also looking at every situation we can go into it, with the different. It's like the mindset. How do we approach things? Even though it's like you said there, when his wife died, he's like, well, how would it have been if your wife outlived you, and then your wife would be suffering because you're no longer with her. So you actually, outlived your wife, so you did her a favor in a sense. Pretty interesting stuff. Oh, man. What a way to start your morning. Gets the mind rolling. I mean, what do you guys think after them? Some of you might not have seen them all, but after a couple of them videos, it makes you wonder. We're searching for a purpose when we shouldn't, maybe. Maybe we just live, right? Do this once and you'll know the purpose of life. See what he says about this one. Did we watch him? We watched him. We'll watch. My suicidal thoughts get way worse when I don't sleep. I don't have a purpose. I appreciate it, Philip. My suicidal thoughts get way worse when I don't sleep. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't need a purpose, though, right? Katie, maybe we don't need a purpose. If we go our whole life searching for a purpose, are we truly living? Or are we just searching for a purpose to live instead of enjoying life? And maybe our purpose is just being alive. Well, maybe we don't need a purpose, right? We just. Let's see what the guru says on this one. I'm trying to understand this too, because sometimes I feel like I need one, right? Sometimes we feel like we need a purpose to exist when really you're existing. Shouldn't that be enough purpose? Like the last video, best so far. He was on point. That our attitude. Oh, me too. I believe that. For sure. My wife always says that to me. It's about how you look at the situation, right? I mean, you used a great example of the concentration camps. We all know what they were, hopefully. Some people, the people that didn't care or didn't care about life anymore, looked at all the bad ways and what they're going through. They ended up dying for the most part. And everybody else that had some kind of hope or, purpose. Maybe you don't need a purpose, but they just wanted to do good and they still never lost their morals and the will to live. So they made it through, or they shared their bread they had. Just interesting, right? A lot of it is the way we look at it. You take people with cancer, if not all cancers are curable, but if you go into it, if you find out you have cancer and you go into it with a positive mindset, most of them people come out of it. I'm not saying that case for everybody, but it seems that way sometimes, right? How you doing, Tammy? Yeah, right, exactly. Focus on maybe why it happened and what you learned from it. I mean, is it really that bad? Is the situations sometimes we face really that bad? Yeah, they can be, right? But I don't think not everyone is. Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe we don't need a purpose, like we said, you know. See what he says here. This is do this once and you'll know the purpose of life. A must watch opening. It just maybe this is the same thing. I don't know.
On the planet is here. If you are a good manager of this, you can create any experience that you want from within and also heighten your faculties. This means you are making your creation more significant than the larger creation. This means you must suffer. If you don't suffer, I'll be disappointed. And I want you to know, the greatest evil right now on the planet is not evil, it's ignorance. You can't really figure what all these people want. Look at yourself. Right now you're thinking you want to become an engineer. Let's say right now I make you an engineer, this moment. Then you're thinking you need a job. I got your job. Then you're thinking you need a promotion. I got you. Then you think you need an award. I got you.
You're welcome.
Then
Take
you
care.
think you
Thanks
need
for
wealth.
coming
I
by.
got you right now. Everything that you can dream of, I got you right now. What do you want now?
You as well. Thanks.
Yeah, I can do that for you.
Let's say I want a job.
Huh?
I'm striving for a job right now.
Yes. Now, we are looking at the end game, right? You got everything you wanted right now. Things that you can imagine, things that you cannot imagine right now, everything you got right now. What do you want right now?
I wouldn't know what.
So true. People think they need to succeed on the first try. Yeah, you know, the road test is a lesson learned. Yeah, I mean, we got everything we wanted right now. I mean, be kind of boring, wouldn't it? But like the first thing he says is, "I need a job. I need a job." You know, like the only reason we need jobs is to get certain things. Like we need money to live, right? Why is that? I still like. I just don't agree with the way society is. Like we should rely on each another. You know what I mean? Like we should be able to rely on my neighbor for whatever they can produce, and they can rely on me for whatever I can produce, right? And then we work to live. You know what I mean? We just, you know, I don't know. It's just weird. I don't think we should have to go to a job and be a slave to society to live a happy life. Like at the end of the day, the dollar bill is not worth anything anyway, right? What if something would happen and we all went to the bank to get our money? It's not going to be there. So you're working for something that's not even worth anything. Man puts value on a dollar bill. What if that dollar bill loses all its value? What do you have left? Do you think if everyone went to the bank for their money, it'd be there? It's not there, right? So we work for this thing that's not even worth anything. When you can they just print more the next day. Think of it like that once. Tom says you try more than 1,000 times to be a light box. So you feel. Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly.
What to do.
Just look at it, huh? See, when you say this, what it means is, all you want in your life, what you're seeking is struggle. To get a job, it must take 3 years, then you'll feel, wow, I got a job. Look at all the people who have good jobs. Look at them walking on the street. Are they going blissfully, dripping ecstasy?
No, it's fucking misery. It's misery. That's my point there. Like, it's misery.
Hello? Miserable guys, they're getting blood pressure, going to work. They're getting all kinds of ailments, they're freaking out. Yes? So what do you want?
I don't know anymore.
That's good. I do not know. I like that. Because actually you do not know. Everybody keeps fooling themselves at every step in their life, thinking, what I want is, I want to become an engineer, I want to become an engineer. It'll keep you busy for 5-7 years. Then I want job, it keeps you busy for another 1 or 2 years. Then I want this kind of job, that kind of job, that keeps you busy for another 8-10 years. I want that much money, that much wealth, that keeps you busy for another 25 years. I want this kind of girl, that kind of girl, that kind of boy, that keeps you busy for a few years. Then children will come, I want my child to become this. Well, we are preparing for your funeral.
So true, because what if your kid don't become what you want? What if you don't become what you want? You just give up on yourself? What if you get what you want and you're not happy? What if you want to be an engineer and you become an engineer, it's not what… How many times do people go to school for something in college and then they change what they're going to school for because it's not what they wanted? It's not all crack, it's not all what you thought it would be. Why do we want something that we never experienced? What if it's not what we want? How do you know you want something so much if you never experienced it? That makes sense. Like, how you don't even know what it's gonna feel like once you get what you wanted. So why do we crave it so much? Very interesting.
You need to understand just this. Right now, you may be giving all kinds of contexts to your life. But essentially, what you call as my life right now is just a certain combination of time and energy. Yes? As you sit here, time is rolling away for all of us. Can you roll it back? You're an engineer. Can you roll it back? Yesterday was not fruitful, so I'll roll it back. Can you? It's rolling away for all of us. As we sit here, what is ticking away here is not the clock. What is ticking away is our life, isn't it? Since we came and sat here, you're half an hour closer to your grave. It doesn't matter how young you are getting there, isn't it? Yes or no? So it's a certain amount of time, and that time nobody can manage because it rolls at the same pace for everybody. You do something, you don't do anything, you sleep, you're awake, you're happy, you're unhappy, do whatever the hell you want, it just
Wow,
keeps
that's
rolling
crazy.
mercilessly, isn't it?
Yeah, this guy's to me, this guy's like I don't know, just the way he talks about life, it's pretty amazing. I'm very interested in this stuff and how we look at things, right? It's very eye-opening. The hard part is remembering everything, right? It's remembering it. You got to keep refreshing yourself on this stuff because it's very impactful in the beginning, but then when you get in that situation, you kind of forget what you've learned, right? And how to deal with things.
So there is energy that you call as life. This, you can pitch it at different levels. If you're like this, I'm talking about the classroom expression,
I like when he laughs, his whole body moves. Funny.
If you're like this, 24 hours feel like 1,000 years. But have you seen on a certain day you're very happy, 24 hours, poof, went off like a moment? Yes or no? So, time is a very relative experience in individual subjective experiences. If you're joyful, if you live 100 years, it feels like a few moments, it's gone. Only miserable people will have a long life. Because if you're miserable, you'll always feel life is too long that you will want to cut it short. But if you're joyful, the possibility that a human being holds, before you look around, it's over, really. But what possibility this carries? So what you need to manage is your energies, because life is a certain amount of energy, it's not limitless, but it can be enhanced. If you function at one level of energy, what you do in 10 years' time, if you function at a different level of energy, the same thing you can do in 1 year's time. So if both people live for 100 years, in terms of impact and profoundness of experience, one has lived for 1,000 years, another has lived for 100 miserable years. So this is all you can do. You may think right now, engineer, this one, that one, these are all limited contexts you're setting for yourself. Fundamentally as a life, it's just time and energy, isn't it? The question is what you make out of it. Do you want to make something out of it? There's no compulsion you have to make something out of it. When I say making something out of it is not a social phenomena I'm talking. What should you become in the society? That's not what I'm talking. Fundamentally, you have come here in terms of life is you want to experience life. Question is how profoundly. Right now, if people want to experience life, what are they experimenting with? They will experiment not this. Yeah, I know you guys. Or they'll experiment this, or they'll experiment something else. What they will experiment is how to down your faculties. You know, United States has made marijuana legal in a few states. So when I went to a few colleges or universities, they're asking me, Sadhguru, why don't you pitch? Someone like you must legalize marijuana for us. I said, no problem, we'll make marijuana legal, cocaine legal, meth legal. What's the problem? No problem. Only thing is, why is it that you want it to be legal? So that you can smoke up and come to the college, right? It's fine. But let's say you want to fly a small airplane. The pilot comes smoked up. You want to fly with him?
No.
Uh,
Yeah, he's a genius in my eyes. When it comes to
because the
life.
guy's already flying without the airplane.
He said he's already flying without an airplane.
Okay, you're not getting the point. You need a major surgery and the surgeon comes smoked up. You want the surgery? Oh no. Then you clearly understand this lowers your faculties. I want all of you to look at this. Do you believe you can enhance life by lowering your faculties? Hello? If you want to enhance this life, you must super enhance your faculties. That's the only and only way you can enhance this life. You cannot lower your faculties and think your life is getting enhanced. What kind of stupidity is that? Simply because it makes you a little like this. I can make you feel like this all the time. How's that? No substance, I'm always like this only. Look at my eyes, I'm stoned. Yeah. Never touch a substance but fully stoned all the time. Because
You know what I just noticed? When you look at him, it looks like the video was made in like the 2000s. You know what I mean? Like early, or no, like I don't know, 2010 or something. And we look at the crowd, it looks like it was made in the 1990s.
Because I want you to understand this, the greatest chemical factory on the planet is here. If you are a good manager of this, you can create any experience that you want from within and also heighten your faculties. If you are having an experience, even to experience that, your faculty should be heightened, isn't it? Is this the greatest chemical factory on the planet, most sophisticated? Do you agree with me? Are they chemical engineers? So I'm asking, how are you managing your system? What have you done? We gave you such a sophisticated machine. Have you read the user's manual at least? No. Blindly do this and then you think pumping something is going to make this better? No. Believe me, the only and only way you can enhance this life is that your faculties are super bright. The way you see, the way you hear, the way you smell, the way you taste, and the way you touch. If this is enhanced,
funny when you
is
watch
life
him.
enhanced in many ways?
And the
There's
crowd
much more
looks
to it, but I'm saying from what you know from your experience. Suppose you could see twice better than somebody who's sitting next to you. Is your life enhanced? Hmm? If you could taste better than other people, is life enhanced? If you could feel better, is it life enhanced? If you could hear better, is life enhanced? On this level you understand this, but there are many other dimensions of human faculties. If you enhance this, if you sit here, you will be blissed out simply sitting here. You wouldn't want to touch any damn thing because just sitting here is the greatest experience of your life. So, about what is the end game? If you had everything, what would you want? If you had everything that you can ever dream of, everything is right here, what would you want? You must think, isn't it? I won't supply you with an answer. If you do not invest that much thought into your life, that means you're super short-sighted. Hello? This happened to Gautama the Buddha. You heard of Gautama the Buddha? Because of some astrological prediction that his father heard, that he may either become a great emperor or a great sage, and he wanted him to become a great emperor, he protected this boy and put him in a separate palace where it's all luxury, everything that you can dream of, everything there. Got him married to a very pretty young woman, everything on. No, he should not see any suffering. But one day he just went out. He saw one old man and he asked, why is this guy like this? His chauffeur. His chauffeur or his chariot driver said, oh, everybody becomes like that after a certain time. He said, what, me? I'm a young prince. Will I become like that? Yeah, everybody will become like that. It shook him. Then he saw a man who's suffering with some kind of disease, ailment. Why is that guy?
You know, it's funny. When he's talking, I'm thinking of myself, right? And that's why I always open the door for like older people, or women, obviously women, but with older people, men, female, whatever. And I always tell them, or I help them do things because someday I'll be there, right? It just made me think about that. Like, this guy thought living in this house with all the shit you could ever want is going to make you live a happy, joyful life forever, blah, blah, blah. You're not going to get old. Yeah, you will. Your time's coming just as much as anybody else's. So, and I always tell people, I'll be there someday. You know what I mean? Or like you help them, they say, oh, it sucks getting old, right? Or, oh, I really appreciate it, blah, blah, whatever the case may be. But hopefully we make it there, This is very eye-opening, dude. Time doesn't stop for nobody, right? Maybe what you think you want is not what you need. Sometimes we want so much shit, but it's not what we need, you know what I mean? Certain things we need in life. It's not always about what we want.
like that. Said it will happen to a lot of people. Who it will hit, there is no prediction. Anybody can become ill. Most people think it happens to other people. No, it can happen to us. Hello? And then he saw a funeral, a dead body. What is that? He said, that is inevitable, everybody will die. Do you also know? You will also die? No, because most people believe other people die. No, intellectually they know, but they think that it's ignorance.
Oh, son of a gun.
And this lowers your faculty.
Where's that?
You must think, isn't it? I won't supply you with an answer. If you do not
What was
like
I?
that after a
Damn.
certain time. He said, what, me? I'm a young prince. Will I become like that? Hey, yeah, everybody will become like that. It shook him. Then he saw a man who's suffering with some kind of disease. What is that? He said, that is inevitable, everybody will die. Do you also know? You will also die?
This made me think of experience. Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
No, because most people believe other people die. No, intellectually they know, but they think they're forever. No, you must be conscious, you're mortal. Mortal means you have a limited amount of time and energy. If you're always conscious about this, how would you organize your time and energy? You decide.
That's true, right? If we never really think about that, you know? Like obviously we're watching a video here, it's 5:30 in the morning, and I'm thinking about how important time is, you know, it's something we never get back. But in them days where you're depressed or you just don't want to do nothing, you know, you really don't have that time to waste. Speaking for myself, I wasted a lot of time in my life, you know, just dealing with my own mental state. And I could have been getting so much more done. Maybe helping other people or whatever the case, helping myself. We waste a lot of time, right? And it's something we never get back.
If you're conscious about it. If you think you're a superhuman being, you're not going to die, other people will die, all the best.
Same here.
It'll come. You can realize this on your deathbed and die. See, people may think this is extreme, but you must go and volunteer in a hospice or in a hospital wards where people die, and you must see. It's very important, very, very important. Only then you become sensitive to life. Life becomes super valuable because you know it's a limited amount of time. If you watch this, unfortunately today in the world, over 80% of the people, when last moment when it comes, when they die, they're not fearful, they're not in pain, they're not in something else, they're just bewildered. A look of bewilderment comes because all their life they just lived their thought and emotion, they never lived a life. This is important, you must understand. There is a psychological reality in your head and there is an existential reality which is life. Most people are mistaking their psychological reality to be existential. Your thought and emotion has become more significant in the cosmos, isn't it? Hello? Huh? What you think, what nonsense you think and feel, has it become more important than the universe or no?
Yeah, the answer is yes for everybody. Maybe not everybody. I'll just speak for myself. Our feelings and emotions control everything. Why?
This means you are making your creation more significant than the larger creation. This means you must suffer. If you don't suffer, I'll be disappointed. Yes, I will be. Because if ignorance doesn't make you suffer, then what? Then what's the use of me? Because it takes a lot to come out of the trap. What is the use of somebody striving to come out of the trap of ignorance? When people can live wonderfully in their ignorance, what is the point? What is the use of knowledge? What is the use of knowing? What is the use of enlightenment? What is the use of realization? If people can live absolutely blissfully in their ignorance, what is the point? When you're ignorant, you must suffer. And I want you to know, the greatest evil right now on the planet is not evil, it's ignorance.
Wow. Yeah, it's tough. It's very tough. Sorry to hear about your loss. Whew. I mean, what a… I don't know, man. That guy's pretty powerful, right? It just makes me listen to him really puts life into perspective, you know. Let's see what this one is. Can you really remove negative thoughts? 2 kinds of suffering and how to end them. Same guy. Yeah, it's very… Man, just think… Well, we get caught up in everyday life that we forget these things, right? When our emotions run high, our feelings are high, we're done wrong. We forget how short life really is, you know. Man, it's… I don't know, it's very powerful shit.
Drinking and expecting somebody else to die. Fortunately, life doesn't work like that. Thinking I will just remove negative thoughts and I will have positive thoughts, all the best, it's not going to work 100%, it's not going to work. See, the way the question is asked and also the way normally it's addressed is, people think there is something called as negative thought and positive thought. They want to remove the negative thoughts and have only positive thoughts. But such people, I would ask them to just experiment for 10-15 seconds. Let them forcefully remove one thought from their mind.
What's going on here? Oh, this ought to be interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's very eye-opening though.
For
right?
example, next 10 seconds,
And of course, we don't
just
want…
don't think of a monkey. Try not to think of a monkey for next 10 seconds. You will see you will be full of monkeys. So what I'm saying is, this is the nature of your mind. Because in this mind, all the 3 pedals are throttle. There is no brake, there is no clutch. Whatever you touch, it will only go faster. In this kind of mind, people have been taught from moral teachers and religious teachers, do not think about bad things. Well, since then it's been a full-time job. So there is no way you can handle the mind like this. This doesn't need any great enlightenment. If you spend 2 minutes with your eyes closed, you will realize you cannot do anything forcefully with this mind. So I want to remove negative thoughts. Do not ever go in this…
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Just like what he's talking about now. Like, you ever think about Just think about this for a minute. You buy a car, right? Say you buy a blue truck. You never seen them, right? But once you buy it, you go out and now all you see is blue trucks. You're probably seeing blue trucks, but you're just never thinking about them. You know what I mean? It never had an importance in your life. You never put any time or effort into it. But now that you're wondering, or now that you have one, now you see them all the time. How many times does that happen to you? It's weird.
Direction, because what you want to remove will become your quality. Always you will be on it. So what should I do? The thing is this, without understanding the fundamental mechanism of this mind, because our mind, human mind, is the most sophisticated computer on the planet. Even all the supercomputers have come out of this. When this is the case,
What's going on with this internet?
is it not important that we understand the mechanics of how it functions? One simplistic aspect of how it functions is, there are no subtractions and divisions in our mind. There is only addition and multiplication. If you try to do something with it, it will say one more. If you try hard, it will multiply into many more. In this mind, you don't try to identify what is positive, what is negative and try to remove it. First of all, one needs to understand, this mind of yours, this body of yours is supposed to serve you. The life that you are is important. Body and mind are vehicles that must serve us. If you sit in a vehicle, it must go where you want to go. If it goes to its own destination, what is the point of such a vehicle? It's just a nuisance. Right now, most human beings are unfortunately experiencing this fantastic possibility of human mind as a nuisance, as a troublesome thing. Well, this is the most beautiful thing you have. It's just that you need to pay little attention as to how it functions. One simple thing is this. First and foremost process is, that's why we put out this process called Isha Kriya. This is to distance yourself from your physiological and psychological process. There is something called as you which exists. This is not a composite of all your thoughts and emotions and physiological processes. Beyond that, there is you. If you close your eyes, even if you cannot see anything, you're still there. It is through the window of your eyes that you're looking out, but if you close your eyes, it doesn't mean that you don't exist. You still exist. So beyond your thought, you still exist. Beyond your emotion, you still exist. So that you, the life that you are, this has to come into your experience. Why is it that you're not allowing that to come into your experience, which is the most significant aspect of who you are? Who you are right now. The most significant aspect is, you and me are alive right now, this is it. What I'm thinking, what you're thinking is
Yeah, right. Like Maximum Overdrive. You ever see that movie?
not the important thing. We are alive right now, that is the important thing.
Why is it doing this? Internet's trash. We played good all night. Oh man. Let's try it again.
So, it is important that you focus on this fundamental sense of aliveness within you, and then you will see there is a natural distance between you and your thought process. Once there is a distance between your psychological process and your physiological process,
Yeah, it's on Facebook.
this is the end of
Oh no, this is streaming from StreamYard to Facebook.
suffering. Because there are only two kinds of suffering that human beings go through: physical suffering and mental suffering. Once you create a little space between you and your mind, between you and your body, this is the end of suffering. This is something every human being has to experience and know. Otherwise, thinking I will just remove negative thoughts and I will have positive thoughts, all the best, it's not going to work 100%. It's not going to work because nobody can remove it. They can avoid it for some time, So when negative thoughts come, you say Ram Ram, Shiva Shiva, whatever you want. But this is just avoiding, it's not gone. The moment you stop that, it will pop back with great force. Otherwise, it will come back in your dreams. So it's very important. First of all, you need to understand your anger, your resentment, your fear, your anxieties, the negativity that you generate. Generally, resentment, anger, it is always directed towards somebody. But we need to understand.
Damn it, I'm trying to see what he says here. Come on. Annoying.
And this is poisons that we are drinking and expecting somebody else to die. Fortunately, life doesn't work like that. If I drink poison, I die. If I drink poison, you don't die. So, we need to understand this. When I say poison, today you can have yourself chemically analyzed. Right now, what is your blood work, what it says? 5 minutes of intense anger. Check your blood work and see, there will be lots of negative elements in it. Literally, you're poisoning yourself. So, do you want to poison yourself? Definitely not. Now, the very question is coming from certain helplessness. What shall I do? Don't do anything. Just sit back and just concern yourself with something which is a life process. Maybe your heartbeat, maybe your breath, maybe just the sensation of being alive. Depending upon how sensitive or how perceptive you are, accordingly, find something. It could be a sensation in the body, it could be breath, it could be heartbeat, it could be anything. Something which indicates life to you. Just pay attention to that for some time. Slowly you will see there is a distinction between what is you and what you have gathered, which includes both your physiological and psychological possibility or mess, whatever you made out of it.
It's pretty interesting, huh? Pretty wild way to think about it. A lot of interesting topics, a lot of interesting videos and conversations, a way to think about purpose, you know? What's the conclusion? I guess the conclusion is, for me, would stop searching for purpose, right? And just appreciate life. When you get angry, or you're angry, like you said there, or whatever the negative emotion is, just stop, maybe think about how much time you're going to waste on this, when time is something we can never get back. Or like you said, how like anger and negativity poisons the body. So like someone pisses you off and then you're angry. That person isn't being poisoned, right? The person is making you mad, and then you're poisoning yourself, with all the negative energy. But to like stop and think, when you're mad like that, and just come back to life, right? Like breathe or find your heartbeat. It's a pretty interesting way to deal with anger, you know what I mean? Because then I'm just trying to put it all in perspective, but if you're angry like that and you realize, maybe feeling your heartbeat or looking at yourself in the mirror and realizing you're wasting this anger when there's not much time in life to begin with. So why waste the negative energy, or why waste any energy, right, on the negative? Yeah, it's just so crazy when you think about it that way. Like, I think if we thought about it like that every time, instead of getting revenge or being so frustrated or mad or whatever it is in that situation, if you thought that, if you would stop and think what's really important in life, I think the anger and the negativity and the depression would not last as long. 'Cause, I mean, for every second, minute, hour, day we spend depressed and trapped, there's one less second, minute, hour, a day that we have joyfulness. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you said, it's way deeper than that, right? You can't just think positive, because that's not going to work. Because the negative thoughts are still going to come. Oh, that's all right. The negative thoughts are still going to come, but I think finding a way to deal with them is what's important, right? You're not going to stop them, but you can decide how much time you're going to spend on them and how you're going to react to them. Any situation in life. Bad times are going to come, right? Good times are going to come as well. Personally, for me, it's to learn from others, let them tell you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like we have to accept them, right? But then I don't think we have to dwell on them. Like holding a grudge with somebody, it's not good for you. I really like what he said about that, though. Like next time you're angry or frustrated or whatever it is, like stop and breathe and just realize you're living. It's pretty powerful, you know what I mean? Like stop and just feel your heartbeat. Whatever it is to bring you back to your senses, in a sense. I don't know. It's pretty wild. Very interesting, to say the least. Let me know what other topics you want to discuss. I think this was very interesting. You as well, Tammy. It's a very interesting topic. I learned a lot today. Sometimes I'm speechless. Sometimes I don't know what else to say. Just try to take it all in, you know what I mean? And see how it's going to impact my life. See how powerful it really can be when you think of stuff. You missed. You can rewatch it. I'll post it. But yeah, it's a lot of things to talk. I mean, it's a lot of things to think about, man. And hopefully, helps you have a better day. You know, I'm glad I'm back in my routine. You know, it really helps. So, I appreciate you guys being there. Sometimes, you know, my mind just goes, and I'm just trying to take it all in. It's very deep shit to me. It's very interesting, and trying to figure out, just understand life a little better each day. And realize how much time we waste on things that don't matter. Ways to deal with our anger, our pain, our suffering, our trauma, to become better people for ourselves and then the people around us. It's not easy, right? I like that. How to deal with anger. We'll do that tomorrow morning. How to deal with anger. I'll look, maybe I kind of just go off a whim here. Like in the mornings, I just trying to find some videos that are interesting and then go with that. I really don't prepare that much. You know, I just have a topic and I run with it. But yeah, I like that because I'm sure we all have different ways to deal. We all deal with different anger. What triggers us? Why do we get so angry? Is it trauma? Very interesting topic. I like that one. We'll do that tomorrow. But hey, I appreciate y'all. It's Thursday. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to get ready for work. Thanks for being here. If you don't mind liking and sharing it, I appreciate it. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. It's very eye-opening, man. And like for me, I got to I don't know. For me, I can't remember all this shit sometimes. So I got to rewatch it maybe. And then it just gets instilled in you, right? After so many days. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. You're welcome. Yeah, it's very eye-opening, man. I don't know. But, so I watched that doctor you had on yesterday for trauma. That was a pretty good video. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, he's good. Dr. Garbermate, however you say his name. But yeah, this gives us a lot to think about, right? And it's like positive energy, positive things, better ways to enjoy this life we live. I don't know. It's a good way to start the day. I don't know, helps me. Get you in the right track of mind, right? I appreciate y'all. I gotta go because I'm just staring into space thinking. But I'll see you again in the morning. Maybe later tonight. I don't know what my plans are this evening. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks. Yeah, William, that's his name. Have a good one.